What's up, YouTube? Today I will start a new series with James. I believe this will be a lot of fun. If you guys are aware of my Discord, I end up creating a new channel there with the name Hot Takes. So basically, you guys share on my Discord unpopular opinion, a hot take, and I will take a look with James and we'll read a couple of them. Today, probably we'll end up reading all of them and share our opinion about them if we agree or disagree. There is a couple of ones that are a little bit crazy, others that actually 100% agree, even if they are hot takes. The important thing about today's video is this will be a two-part video. So the first part of the hot takes will be on my channel and the second part will be on James' channel. I know a couple of you guys are already aware of the James YouTube. I think is a great channel, and I think this is a good way for you guys to check him out. And yeah, first part will be on my channel. Second part, I will be with him on his channel, checking all the other hot takes. James, do you want to say something to the viewers? It's actually the second time you are already on the channel, so.
Sure, yeah. James Cards FC just started my channel a few weeks ago. I think I just passed 200 subscribers either this morning or sometime last night. So it's been a lot of fun. Put out a lot of content in the first couple of weeks and sort of reeling myself back in. But yeah, no, it's been a lot of fun and I've appreciated all the support. So if you want to check out my channel, feel free to do so.
No, yeah, for sure. It's a great channel. I enjoyed all the videos. And I believe the content is similar to mine to a certain extent, so I'm pretty sure my viewers will also enjoy it quite a lot. Apart from that, guys, we are trying something new, so if in the end end up enjoying this one, do not forget to leave a like. So I will share the screen with James and we'll go direct into the hot takes. Give me just a second and let's do it. I think it's working in your end, James?
Yep, you're all good.
So guys, if you guys are not part of my Discord, not mine, this is actually ours because the Discord is for all the entire soccer community. You guys need to join, it's totally free. I will leave the link below the video. This new series, this new category on Discord, for me is a lot of fun, and I believe most of people that are interacting are also enjoying that. Again, is the category hot takes on my Discord. Check the link below the video. So the first hot take is actually mine, since I was the one creating the channel, in this case the category on the Discord server. And I said this, and I will not react to this, since it's my hot take. Will be it will be just your perspective, James. Number cards over 99 copies are not rare. Actually, most of the people end up agreeing with me there because we can see the 100% and stuff like that. By the way, just one thing for people that are not aware of this, we can actually, we cannot comment on the hot takes. We basically can only react with emojis. So what do you think about this?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and get into the first one. I agree in most part. I think it somewhat depends, though, on what set we're talking about. So for 2014 Prism or 2017 Chrome and things like that are super iconic. I think cards numbered more than 99 might still have the value there. But I think if you're talking specifically about ultra modern sets that came out in 2020 or 2019 or 2021 or this year, then no, they're not going to be rare at all, unless for some reason something like Sapphire ends up being the end all be all set that you need to hunt for. But in most cases, I would agree that 99 copies or more is not rare.
The reason I said this, and I guess I can give some explanation, is actually quite simple. Look, if you want to enter a market that have more than 100 copies, a card that have more than 100 copies, in vintage and in pre-modern, you can find stuff that probably the rarity will be similar and you probably pay quite less. And in terms of history, in terms of lineage, will be much better. But again, this is just for fun. If you have cards over 100 copies, of course, they still have some type of rarity, even though I actually prefer out of 99, and maybe even another hot take. I actually prefer out of 50 to be honest. But yeah, I think it's just I just said just to start the topic on Discord. So the next one is from Niels, and Niels says R9, in this case Ronaldo Nazário Lima, is the single most undervalued player in terms of card market. I actually agree with this take. Well, I agree with this take. Is also difficult to, because I need to put this in a macro perspective. Saying is the most undervalued for sure. I'm not sure, but I agree with him that Ronaldo is quite undervalued on the market. If he's the most undervalued, I mean, that's difficult. Actually, I thought that was quite funny that people end up reacting with Ronaldinho for this.
Yeah, that was me. I put that one there.
So maybe people are trying to say that Ronaldinho is actually the most undervalued player on the market, which, by the way, there is also argument for that. But in general, I would say that I agree with the idea. I agree that Ronaldo, the Brazilian one, is one of the most undervalued players on the market. The man was a machine. Sadly, a lot of injuries, but I would say I lean to agree with this take. What about you?
Yeah, I think to an extent he's one of the most undervalued players in the market. He has a variety of different rookies and alternatives, and all of them sort of take away from each other's markets. So that's why he doesn't see the sales that Henry or Zidane see for their rookie cards. So from that perspective, I think some other specific cards like the insert stuff and other key cards for him that aren't rookies, they seem vastly undervalued in comparison when you look at guys like Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. In my opinion, obviously I put the emote there. I think Ronaldinho is probably a bit more undervalued just because his rookies in mid-grade sell for the same as a R9 1994 the blue one from the Spanish magazine. They sell for the same price in mid-grade, and for Ronaldinho, that's his only issue. So I think from that perspective, Ronaldinho is a bit more undervalued.
No, yeah, he's a fun one for sure. I mean, like I said, it's difficult to say that for sure he's the most undervalued because Ronaldinho could be on that. Look, Thomas Muller could be on that. I understand prices are quite different, but if you just go undervalued, I mean, even a card that is $10 could enter this debate. But your point is good, since Ronaldinho honestly only have one rookie and Ronaldo have more than one. Have two copies at Football 95. And El Mundo Deportivo, I believe is Estrelas del Mundo. So yeah, he's an interesting. I'm sorry, he's an interesting take for sure. And again, I agree in general that Ronaldo is quite undervalued. The most undervalued, I think, is quite more debatable. But thanks, in this case, Niels, to put this one because I thought was a very good one. So next one, Neat Beer said, I got two. One maybe hotter than the other. First hot take. Without injuries, Ronaldo, the Brazilian one again, will be in the same conversation with Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi. Second hot take. Actually, let's go with this. So the first is he believes Ronaldo will be in the conversation with Cristiano and Messi if end up having not the crazy amount of injuries that he end up getting in his career. So what do you think about this one? A lot of people agreed, by the way.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty non-controversial take. I know a lot of people share this belief that without the injuries, Ronaldo probably ends up being the GOAT. I will say that even his best season at Barcelona, if you look at it, isn't really close to Messi's best seasons that he had at Barcelona, just from a goal scoring and assist numbers perspective. I know the games are different as you go 20 years in the future, but just from that perspective, his numbers aren't on par with Messi specifically. So I think it's a decently hot take, but it's one that I know a lot of people agree with.
Yeah, I mean, I think when Ronaldo was younger, he probably was better than Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo at the same age. But the reality is Messi ended up hitting his prime at what, 25, 26, 27 years old, which is quite normal. And that at that time, the Brazilian Ronaldo was already facing a lot of problems with his knee, etc. So honestly, it's possible, especially if we compare with Cristiano Ronaldo, to be fair, because Cristiano Ronaldo is also a goal machine. With Messi, I don't know. I think Messi is a more complete player in the sense that Messi, I believe, have the record for most assists ever. So, and Ronaldo was a different player. We'll be in the same conversation. Honestly, maybe. I mean, especially with Cristiano Ronaldo, will be even more close. With Messi, I'm not so sure, but in the other end, Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo, they are in the conversation. So probably Ronaldo will also be there, the Brazilian one. So I would say is a decent take, yes. The second one, and this was a little bit more controversial, Mbappé is the most overrated player in modern soccer and will never be a top 10 player of all time. What's your opinion on this?
I don't agree with this one. So here's the thing about Mbappe. I know that he's super highly hyped in the card market and all this, and so it's easy to point at that and think he's overhyped. But the thing is, when we look at this next generation after Ronaldo, Messi, Lewandowski, and Benzema all end up retiring, I really don't see anybody else who's going to be near Mbappe's level right now, and except for Haaland or some new kid that comes up. And Mbappe already has one World Cup. He has a shot at two, and he may have a shot at three, but he at least has a shot at two for a long while. It looks like he's clearing away the best player in his age group, at least in my opinion. And so just based on that alone, there is a perceivable future in which he wins a few Ballon d'Ors and maybe has 2 or 3 World Cups. And I think when you start putting that sort of resume together, you get to a top 10 all-time player, but obviously it's too early to know. But if I were to talk about any of the modern, ultra-modern players, I think he's in a class by himself.
Okay, so there is two parts on this take, right? The first is Mbappé is the most overrated player in modern soccer, and the second is will never be a top 10 player of all time. Let's start with the last one. Will never be a top 10 player of all time. With that, I don't even think this is a hot take. This is statistically probably most likely to be correct. Being a top 10 player of all time, I mean, maybe Platini is not the top 10 player of all time, and Platini ended up winning 3 Ballon d'Or. So I would agree with the last one. Saying is the most overrated player in modern soccer, I do not agree. At one point in time, I'm going to be real, I thought Mbappé was a little bit overrated. But he's not the most overrated player in modern soccer. I think, for example, and I know some people will get mad at me, I think Foden is way more overrated than Mbappé, because Mbappé numbers are actually quite impressive. They are, again, I'm not sure, probably Ronaldo, the Brazilian one, had better numbers, but Mbappé at his age is amazing in terms of goals, in terms of assists. Mbappé is a machine. Will be top 10 player. Again, there is a scenario on that. If I had to bet money, I would say no, but I do not agree that he's the most overrated player in the modern soccer market.
Yeah, I think it's very unlikely that he would be a top 10 player of all time, but I think there's a scenario that he is. So I wouldn't say never.
Yeah, never. Again, like I said, this is the idea is to be edgy, to be funny, putting this type of hot takes. So I understand why I end up saying that. But the thing that you said, I disagree a little bit, because you said that could end with 2 World Cups, 3 World Cups. That's again, like you said, it's possible, but it's so unlikely to be honest. So again, who knows? I think Mbappé is a great player. I think he's one of the best young players in the game. If I had again to bet money, I believe he probably will end up winning Ballon d'Or at one point in his career. But top 10 player, you need to win multiple Ballon d'Ors, and that gets a little bit more tricky. So the next one is about Ronaldo again. Actually, Ronaldo Nazário Lima is in the GOAT conversation. He is considered as a lot of modern day footballers GOAT. The guy had an ACL injury back when it was considered as a career ending, came back, first back tears his other ACL, then healed and went to the World Cup and was the top goal scorer. This is actually true. The thing that guy could do was out of this world. So, okay, this was a very long one for me. R9 is in the GOAT conversation. Man, I disagree with this one. I love Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo could be, if had the potential to be in the GOAT conversation, but I'm sorry, I don't think Ronaldo is in the same level as Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo or Maradona or Pelé again, the four guys that I consider.
Yeah, the problem here is just the longevity is not there with R9. We could talk about the GOAT conversation in terms of who had the best peak, but then you open up things to like saying Ronaldinho was the greatest player of all time because he had one of the greatest peaks for a year or two, and the longevity just isn't there. So when it comes to that, at least in my opinion, it needs to be somebody with more longevity.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. If you go by that logic, Ronaldinho has a crazy prime. I mean, it's difficult to. Again, this is all relative. If you believe Ronaldo, the Brazilian one, is one of the goats, I don't think there is anything wrong with that. I believe he's one of the goats in his position. In a super macro perspective, where I have to pick 4 or 5 guys, probably Ronaldo is not there. So, and that's just my take. The next one is almost the opposite of the last one. The other guy that basically Lioreka says Mbappé is a generational talent. What do you think about this one?
I mean, yeah, in terms of the generation that's coming up, the generation that's after Messi and Ronaldo, like I said before, I think it's him in a class by himself, and then everybody else, at least for now.
I think Haaland is with him, man. I know Haaland right now is not as hot in the market as it was last year. But if you think about last year, Mbappé was not playing that well. I know this season Mbappé made a very good season. I think Haaland and Mbappé are the best ones. But if I had to pick one between Haaland and Mbappé, with that I agree. I probably would go for Mbappé right now. Generational talent. Probably, yes. I mean, if you look at all the other new kids, he seems the best. So yeah, maybe he's correct on that sense. Will Mbappé be the man of this generation? That's more debatable, but yeah. So he finalized saying that there is no taking that away from him. There is no more Ronaldo or Messi in the Ballon d'Or or talks. I can see Mbappé getting at least 3 Ballon d'Ors if he leaves PSG. So this I disagree. I think 3 Ballon d'Ors is a lot. Because look, tomorrow Arsenal can buy a guy in São Paulo, and that guy is amazing, and all of a sudden that guy starts to be the favorite to win Ballon d'Or. There is always this scenario. So again, do I believe Mbappé will win Ballon d'Or? Yes. Do I think we will win 3 Ballon d'Ors? I'm not sure.
Yeah, so if we go prior to Messi and Ronaldo sort of dominating world football for 15 years, the Ballon d'Or was really a once a season sort of award, right? And it would just flip between player to player, unless you had somebody that was like a super generational talent, GOAT level player. They won a few, but for the most part, it was just going to a new guy every single season.
And yeah, and again, if you think Mbappé will win 3 Ballon d'Or, I mean, you are putting him as same level as Cruyff, for example. Cruyff ended up winning 3 times. I'm not sure if no, Cruyff actually ended up winning. I'm not sure if 2 or 3 times, but whatever. But you are putting in a level of a player that is actually a GOAT. So I don't know. Seems difficult. Is impossible? Of course not. The next hot take, and let me see how many we have. I still have a good amount. The next hot take is from W, and he says Dutch League and Portuguese League are more competitive than League One. Well, I agree. Basically, keeping things short.
Yeah, I think it depends on what you mean by competitive. Competitive in terms of there's more teams that have the ability to win. Then yeah, definitely. But I think League One has better players, but it's just focused on a few teams.
I mean, PSG is better than any Portuguese team or any team in the Dutch league. That's for sure. But I mean, in Portugal, I mean, Benfica, Porto, Sporting, they will be very competitive against any other team in France. I mean, they probably win apart from PSG, because Monaco, for example, is not that strong. Lyon, actually, Porto ended up losing to Lyon. I'm actually remember that result, but But I still agree with the idea that there is more competition on the Portuguese league, because look, when you start the league, Porto could be the favorite, Benfica could be the favorite, Sporting can be the favorite, and same goes for the Dutch league with the Ajax, Feyenoord, etc. So I would agree with this, but again, there is one team that is better than basically the entire Portuguese league. So. Moving on, Axel C said, PWCC is overwhelming the market with their weekly auctions. Okay, James, start you with this one.
I think this is an interesting take. Overwhelming the market with their weekly auctions. They're not nearly having as many auctions that eBay is. So if they're overwhelming the market with their number of auctions, then eBay is definitely overwhelming the market with their number of auctions. I think, and I talked about you with this before, but PWCC, the fact that when you sell something, things go into your PWCC wallet, I think that's really good for their market in terms of the auctions, because the money stays in their system. But yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree or disagree with that. My take would just be, if you think that they're overwhelming the market, then eBay definitely has to be.
I mean, difficult one. I think PWCC putting, actually, and I was a bigger fan of the monthly auctions than the weekly auctions.
I agree as well.
Because for me was like an event. It was I stayed late at that night. Right now I can stay late because I live in Europe. I can stay late every week to watch the PWC auction. So for me, I missed the old format. This is a debatable take. There is some truth, and but in the other end, again, I think the biggest problem is probably right now is you have Alt, you have PWCC, you have Goldin, you have eBay, of course, and probably more that you have My Slab. So there is so much places to sell cars right now that saying PWCC is overwhelming the market. I don't think so. Also, I mean, again, I understand the point. But the reason for me that the market is down is not because of PWCC. Is more in the, if you look in the macro economic perspective than just PWCC. So next one, Canada will make it to the knockout round of the World Cup. Let me say this. I actually kind of agree with this take. I think Canada, at least from what I saw on the qualifiers, looks really good. Again, will I be shocked if Canada loses all the games? No, because Canada still lacks history on the World Cup. But I think that they have a shot. So,
yeah, I mean, I think they have a decent chance of getting out. I wouldn't say they're a for sure thing or anything, but yeah, I mean, I think they have a decent chance. But like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if they lost every game or if they got out.
Yeah. So Father Senslab said, we will not see another Messi / Cristiano Ronaldo in my lifetime or my son's. He's 8. Oh man, this I don't know about this one. I mean, okay, let me say this. I kind of agree, because I really, especially for Messi, I believe Messi is a guy that it will be very difficult to see a guy with his talent playing at the top for so many years. Winning seven Ballon d'Ors is honestly bananas. But I don't know. I mean, his son is 8 years old. That's he has a lot of time in his life. So there is a scenario that a new guy appears, and who knows. So.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's inevitable at some point. Somebody will come along and score like 100 goals in a season or something ridiculous. It's just the natural progression of the way things go. I mean, I'm sure Jared Muller's record was thought to be unbreakable for the 30 or 40 years that he had it. So there's probably a scenario out there where somebody breaks Messi's records.
And yes, and the thing is, players are getting better. That's the reality. Look. We are seeing records getting break over and over. Benzema will break Raul's record. Lewandowski end up breaking Jared Muller. So players are getting better. Again, I still think we'll take a good amount of time to have a similar career as Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, a player with that potential. But it's possible, yes. So I agree and I disagree at the same time. Moving on. Axel Seal said, we will not see another player like Messi ever again until we match with AI. Okay. Again, I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, and the whole AI question is interesting. I wonder if I actually have AI players someday. But yeah, I mean, I think at some point we're going to have another Messi level talent. I don't pretend to know when that'll be, but I assume at some point somebody will come along.
I mean, yeah, he's correct that Messi is a special talent, but
Yes.
I mean, look, I remember when Ronaldinho was playing. I remember when Zidane was playing, and people said similar things. To be fair, and again, I understand Messi is in a different level, but again, the future is always surprising you. So. Next one. Even with Haaland, Manchester City will not win Champions League. Oh man, I agree with this one. I think again, actually, I think I actually believe Haaland and Ibrahimovic are kind of similar, especially when Ibrahimovic was much younger. And Guardiola ended up buying Ibrahimovic for Barcelona. And that was not a good match. So Guardiola actually tends to like players like Agüero, David Villa, players, strikers that move a lot, that engage a lot with the team. Haaland is not that guy. In the other end, Haaland is an amazing talent, so who knows? But I would agree with this one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's super hard to know at this point how Haaland's going to integrate with that team. I mean, if he does integrate really well and he's playing to the form that he was at with Dortmund, I would assume they would be Champions League favorites. But there's still a lot of teams out there that I think you would say are equal to them at this point.
Yeah, no, I guess the most likely scenario is actually City not winning Champions League next season. So. The next one is from James, and James said, hey. 2022 World Cup hype and its project impact on the market is extremely overrated. So I guess I will be the one commenting this one. I agree. I mean, I think, again, it depends. If you think that the market will be all flowers with the World Cup at the end of the year, I totally agree with you, because I don't think that will be the case. Can the market show positive signs because of the World Cup in the next month, 2 months from now, or at least close to the World Cup? Yes. So I also think this take could be a little bit bearish, but in general, I agree. But again, expand a little bit more on this one.
Yeah, I think it depends on what your expectations for the World Cup are. I know there's crazy expectations out there, like the whole market is going to 2 or 3x in the time the World Cup's happening, and that's just not realistic at all. The market conditions are, like we talk about, are more important than the tournament itself, and it looks like, at least from what we've seen recently, the market conditions might not be very favorable for this year by the time we get there. But of course, anything can change there. My point here is we might see 10, 20, 30% rises in the lead up to the World Cup or just before it. And there will be one-off cases where a kid out of nowhere scores a few goals and his cards increase 3 or 4x. But the whole market 2, 3, or 4xing over the course of the tournament, I think, is a little premature and a little wishful thinking.
No, I agree with that. I think again, it's all about expectations. If you believe the market will make a 5x or 10x, that's a little bit tricky, honestly. But if you believe the market will go up 20x, not 20x, 20%, 30x, oh my God, 20%, 30%, I think that's realistic, honestly, knowing that there is also the scenario that the market maybe even go down. But I think makes sense to be positive, to be super positive. I'm not so sure. This will be the last one. Then we'll go back to then the second part will be on James' channel. So the next one is Father Sands and Slabs, and he said the first $1 million Messi card will be the 2018 Panini Treble 1 of 1. Okay, let me start with this one, since I'm kind of related with Panini Treble. I don't agree. I think there is way better cards to to hit that $1 million card, especially the Mega Cracks PSA 10, I think is the one that could be very well positioned to do that one day. Of course, 2014 Prism. So I would say no. Is that impossible? I mean, we see so many crazy stuff. Who knows? But I would say no on this one.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to narratives and timing when we get to the point that comes up for auction. But in my opinion, there's just too many different things ahead of it. So you have 2004 Mega Cracks and PSA 10. You have the 2014 Prism, the gold vinyl out of 5, as well as the actual 101. You have 2017 Topps Chrome 101 Superfractor. So just off the top of my head, those I would put ahead of it. So yeah, I just think it's too far down on the list. It's a really cool card, and I actually don't think it's been pulled, which is kind of fun. But yeah, it's not at the top of my list.
No, I believe it's pulled.
Is it?
I believe I even sent you a picture of that a couple of weeks ago. But the thing is, I'm not sure if that's a picture of the blue with a crazy good light, or if he's actually the one of one. So who knows? But I will send you the pic again. But I believe he's actually pulled. I could be wrong, of course. So guys, thank you for watching. We'll continue this conversation on the James YouTube channel. I will leave a link below the video also. And look, if you end up enjoying this one, do not forget to like and put your hot take on the Discord side. I mean, if you want to be featured in this type of videos, it will be a pleasure for me. Again, those hot takes, say whatever you want, as long, of course, you are respectful. And people can only react with emojis, so you don't even need to interact with anyone. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you so much. See you guys next time. Bye.